All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. All right, so Journey did actually perform a couple of songs, so I have to make a correction to the God Shuts Down the Journey concert video. That was a little harsh. Technically, God did kind of stop it because there was a thunderstorm and lightning and so forth. And Barry Manilow was trying to get through Can't Smile Without You when that happened. Apparently, Journey had already performed a couple of songs. In my defense, right, I don't have CNN, and nor will I ever have CNN in my home. I will never order CNN. I will never watch CNN on purpose. All right. I may get a video clip sent to me from somebody, but anyway, and that's how I got to see the two Journey songs that were performed, Any Way You Want It from the movie Caddyshack. I just remember that, and I love Caddyshack, so I had to throw it in there. A little Rodney Dangerfield, just a classic. They'll never make a movie like Caddyshack ever again, all right? And then the most overplayed song in the history of the world right now, which is Don't Stop Believin'. In the midst of a crumbling world, we're all don't stop believing. It's going to be great. All right. And then I've got patrons sending me their critique of the two songs and telling me that things are really bad and the band needs to start looking into maybe finding somebody who can sing. Look, I like Arnell a lot. He is, and I'll say this over and over again, this is not Arnell bashing. This video isn't meant to bash Arnell. All right. But it is what it is, right? People are listening to it and they're going, wow. And in the backdrop of 1981, because even though the band talked about Escape, they talked about some stuff that happened 40 years ago, Steve Perry in his prime, live in Houston in 1981, with no backing tracks, no pre-recorded tracks that are put into the keyboard, and then you press a button and then those tracks suddenly blare out of the speakers, right? Because that's the technology they're using. Everybody is doing it because it's kind of like, it's a lot like auto-tune in some ways. It's not maybe as obvious as auto-tune, and that's what makes it kind of an interesting way to sort of augment your performance. But these guys do two songs. That's not really a concert, by the way. So, that's why I'm not pulling down the God Shuts Down the Journey concert, because they only did two songs. Were they only scheduled to do two songs? Do you need two drummers in Journey? I'm going to start asking weird questions. I don't think you need two drummers in Journey. Narada, you could be behind the scenes doing the production, arranging, songwriting in the studio. Let Dean just do this because Dean can do it. But they have two drummers. Maybe they're expecting Dean to just take over on lead vocals at some point. So you're going to keep Narada just in case. Marco Mendoza was there again, too. I thought Randy would be back. Randy has not been seen so far on a live stage. That's kind of weird. We'll have to follow that story. Last time I was told Randy had a bad back. Randy had a prior engagement. Again, I'm not sure why he didn't, work around the Journey thing since he hasn't been in Journey, and it would be kind of cool to see him back on stage because he was a member of the band during the 1980s for a little while. All of this, though, makes me miss the Live in Houston Steve Perry performance. It's just go listen to Live in Houston 40 years ago. And that concert was, I think, mixed and put together with Mr. Perry behind the scenes doing all of that stuff, knowing that this was just a real historic concert. He was at his best. I remember Neil Sean on Twitter a few years ago posted a picture of that concert and said, this is when our chemistry was off the hook. Now it's like everything gets mailed in. These guys show up, They press some buttons. They play some notes. Look, Neil is still Neil. Neil is still doing his thing, still sounding great, still playing great. He's the guy out there with most of the energy. I know Arnell is trying. He's got energy and he's trying like heck, right? But Marco is just a statue. Dean is doing great too. But this isn't a band that is in its prime. It's definitely trying to hold on to this amazing legacy and this amazing catalog of music and put it out there. Now, they're only trying to put out 2 songs at this particular concert in Central Park. And those 2 songs, quite honestly, were very disappointing. I mean, they just, there's no way around this. And if you're a fan of this music, not a casual fan, by the way, the casual fans were all very excited. The casual fans were jumping and cheering, and you would think that they were listening to something completely different from what you were hearing, which is very interesting. This is the modern day sort of when you're a little older and you do some observing, because that's what I do, and I watch the reactions of people and I go, wow, they really liked that. Because they're listening to auto-tuned crap all day and they're like, ooh, live music. It's like, this is why now I didn't do a full 180, but this is why I'm starting to revise my opinions a little bit on grunge. I'm not going to buy any grunge music. I'm not going to listen to it. But when it comes on the radio, say they're making it into a classic rock song now, I'm going to go, wow, that's kind of cool. They're playing their instruments. Grunge, they played their instruments. They didn't play them well, but they played them. They sang. They weren't using auto-tune. So to me, I'm like, okay, so grunge, in a sense, is mostly organic. And is it good music? No, not necessarily. Some of it is listenable. Some of it is tolerable. But these days, everything is so AI and press a button, Pro Tools, and it's just not what it once was. So, hey, maybe Soundgarden wasn't so bad after all. You know, it's, again, not my cup of tea. I'd rather go back further and listen to music from the 60s, 70s, or 80s, or maybe into the early 90s, and all this melodic stuff that continues to come out of Sweden and Europe and different places that people don't hear about in the United States because radio doesn't care. I don't know, you can make money off of, you know, album sales anyway. That's why Journey is on the road, even though they have a new album coming out. This problem isn't going to go away. And it didn't go away 3 years ago, and it's not going to go away now because everybody has made a commitment to this lineup. And there's an image, there are posters, there are tickets, there are souvenirs, t-shirts, everything has been printed and ready to go. You know, in a perfect world where you could pull the plug on this, kind of like they did with Jeff Scott Soto, just pulled the plug and they shouldn't have, you know, was that a good decision in hindsight? No, it was not a good decision. By now, Soto would have been the longest tenured vocalist if he didn't leave, which he might have, but, and his voice is still really, really good. Although, you know, a little bit lower in the register and not your traditional Journey lead singer voice. But again, I have a list of bands that do this for a living. My friends up in Northeastern Ohio, Escape, they do Journey better than what Journey is doing right now. Continuum, my new friends here in Florida on the East Coast, amazing group. Resurrection from Nashville. And then you've got Voyage, which is Hugo Valenti's band. I think they're New York or New Jersey, Long Island. Really, really good. Hugo's been around for a long time, even looks like Steve Perry. So people, all you gotta do is close your eyes and just, you know, you'll hear the difference. You'll go, oh, this is Journey, and this sounds like Journey. You know what I mean? This is Journey over here. Sounding different from pretty much anything they've ever sounded like because of what's going on currently. And then, you know, pick one of those groups I mentioned and you go, oh, that's actually close. That's closer. And you may actually hear some music in the original key, which is a real cool thing. Or you can do the ultimate and just go back and listen to Live in Houston 1981, or the Captured album, where you get the Greg Raleigh, Steve Perry era together, which quite honestly, that's hard to beat, really. That's like the best of all worlds, because you get the old Journey hanging on a little bit, you got the new Journey coming in, and the band still got that grit, and they're not just this sort of pop ballad band, which, again, Don't Stop Believin', biggest song in history, at least for downloads, and that's why you had to hear it in Central Park. But it's tedious. It's getting a little bit I'm tired of it. But I'm, a former DJ, right? Being a former DJ, you get tired of the songs you have to play all the time, and you're hoping that the record label will put out a new single so you get something new to listen to. Those were the days like, oh, thank goodness, I can start playing a different song. See, whereas the general public, they're not like that. They're more, I only heard it, 20 times today. And you're like, wow, I'm done with hearing it. I don't need to hear it anymore. I used to love that song, but it's been beaten into the ground. And that's how I feel about Don't Stop Believin'. But the casual fans, they can't get it enough. They want more Don't Stop Believin'. So that's my video on this topic. Yes, little correction on the God shut the concert down video I did. Technically, God did shut the concert down. Just Journey was able to get their 2 songs in. 2 songs. I mean, that's not a concert. That's a commercial break, All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.